For me, understanding the gospel was a journey with ups and downs that took a few years for me to learn what it was actually about. When I ended high school, I was tired of academics. It felt like a treadmill I didn't want to be on. So when I got to college, I was looking for a social life and a place I could be accepted. That's when an upperclassman who lived on my floor invited me to our church. The Bible studies intrigued me, and I wanted answers to my questions about Christianity. Some nights I would stay up until 1 to 2 a.m. in my dorm room talking to upperclassmen as we discussed life and what the Bible said. I enjoyed the wholesome community, and I was drawn to the warm welcome and friendships I witnessed in the homes of my mentors and older college students I became fond of. By my sophomore year, I thought to myself, I have no more questions about Christianity and the Bible, so I thought I should commit my life to God. But in truth, I still had a pretty shallow understanding about what that meant. And as time went on, my interest in the gospel message waned. I started to mostly pay attention to my place in the community. So while it was good that the church community had attracted me and encouraged me to investigate the gospel, the problem was that I was fixated on the surface level things that I could get out of Christian life. I got to be part of different activities like skits and videos, and I started caring who got featured in what event or how I performed in any simple little game in front of the group. So then at Bible studies, I was barely listening to the message, constantly thinking about what people thought of me or how I was coming off to people. And as quickly as I had fallen in love with my experience of Christian community, I fell out of it. I wanted to go after other things like partying, and so I stopped going to church. And for a semester, I just did my own thing. Went to the parties, hung out with friends, had free time to myself. But after a while, I found that I lost interest in that kind of a life too. That's when I decided it was time to go back to church. I had an honest conversation with my mentor and shared that I wasn't sure if I really believed everything about Christianity. So on his advice, I decided to have a fresh start and seek out the truth once again. I realized I had this big misconception that Christian life was just about being good and staying out of trouble. And I thought I was pretty successful in dealing with my sins on my own. After all, I had cut ties with my life of partying and drinking. And when people would share about how God forgave them of their sin, I would say, "Oh, me too." But I never felt any deep sense of passion or warmth in my gratitude towards God for this. The turning point for me was during graduate school, when I started living in closer community with our church members. My sins, such as my irritability, my laziness, addictions to media, lust, they had become more obvious to me. But I fell into a cycle. I would fall into sin, confess, be emotional, and promise to never do it again, and after some time, I would fall again and repeat the process. At first, I thought I wasn't trying hard enough. Then I thought I didn't mean it enough. But after failing so many times, I realized what the Bible said about me was true, that I am a hopeless sinner. All of these realizations culminated in this one particular prayer meeting, where I was confessing my sins and the cycle I was stuck in. I asked God to forgive me, repeating the words, "God, please forgive me," hoping a magical feeling would whisk my shame away. But why would a holy God forgive me? After that prayer meeting, an older brother gave me Psalm 103:12. As far as the east is from the west, so far does he remove our transgressions from us. And that verse really struck me. Finally, something clicked, and the pieces had come together. I was hit with how amazing grace is. God was willing to cast my sins an infinite distance away because of Jesus' death on the cross, even though I deserved judgment. The morning after that prayer meeting, I was in awe and just so thankful to realize that God did not treat me as my sins deserved. I can still recall the feelings I had when I remember biking around campus that morning, reflecting on this, and just feeling so full of joy and amazement. I'm so thankful for how God has patiently guided me all these years. By God's grace, I kept coming out even though my motivations were all over the place. When I actually grasped what grace and forgiveness are, I happily and willingly committed myself to Him. That was when I began to see Christian life is really about fellowship with God and freely relating to Him.